The reasons for people to seek psychotherapy are very unique to each person. Usually people come to psychotherapy when they're experiencing a crisis. It might be an emotional crisis, an identity crisis, or a relationship crisis. People also come to explore areas of stuckness. Maybe they're behaving or relating in ways that they're not very happy with, or they're experiencing a major life transition.
Psychotherapy really starts when the crisis has been resolved, if you like, or at least the sting taken out of the tail. So people come to psychotherapy for all sorts of reasons, but people stay in psychotherapy because on a fundamental level, they want a deeper relationship with themselves. They want to understand why they do what they do. They want to understand their emotional world better. They want to make sense of their own minds, and they want to understand how to do relationships with other people. I think that great strides have been made in destigmatizing mental health, and there's a much more open dialogue going on in the public domain about this, which is hugely beneficial. However, there does remain a lot of stigma, and I think part of this is driven by the misconception that anybody who goes for psychotherapy has some sort of mental health problem. And the reality is that the vast majority of people who come to psychotherapy do not have a mental health problem. They do not have a mental illness. They do not have a psychiatric disorder. They come to psychotherapy because they want to make some fundamental changes to how they are living their lives, their experience of themselves, their relationship to themselves, and also their relationship to others around them.
We all have experienced some emotional distress at some point in our lives, so this is one good reason for seeking psychotherapy. But also mental health issues, they exist on a spectrum, so you may be experiencing some generalized anxiety or major panic attacks, and psychotherapy can be effective in working with both.
Counselling is a process that works really well for short-term issues. So perhaps somebody's struggling bereavement, or somebody is struggling with a relationship breakup, that sort of thing. And if they've not had particular struggles in their life prior to that, then counselling can be absolutely the right thing to do for that. Psychotherapy tends to work with more ingrained patterns, deeper relational patterns. So perhaps people are noticing that relationships keep failing, or they're having the same experience over and over again. Then a period of psychotherapy can be really helpful in unpicking that, making sense of what's going on. And of course that will come to light in the relationship with the psychotherapist, because relationship patterns play out in the session as well. Choosing a psychotherapist can be complicated, can be difficult, can be confusing for clients. So I think in a nutshell, first of all, if you are genuinely looking to see a psychotherapist, then find a psychotherapist who has been trained and is registered with the UKCP, which is the United Kingdom Council for Psychotherapy. So that's a starting point, and they have a directory of psychotherapists on their website. Then look for a psychotherapist where you feel there is some affinity. That might be cultural affinity, that might be gender affinity, but it might also be the way the psychotherapist talks about themselves, how they think about the world, how they think about mental health problems, how they think about emotions, and the language they use. So I don't just mean the written language they use to describe themselves, but the language they use to talk about the human condition. And notice who you're drawn to, because after all, psychotherapy is a relationship. So you need to find somebody where there is a sense of, okay, I'm curious, I think I can possibly work with this person.
Either have a phone call or meet the person face to face and ask them some questions and see how you feel working with them. In therapy, you should be feeling quite safe and comfortable with your therapist in order for your story to unravel, but also not too safe and comfortable that you're not going to be feeling challenged.
I think I would say to the client, well, you tell me, what do you want from this process? And it's often a question asked at the very first session, what does this look like if this is successful? which can throw people. But I want them to know from the outset that this is a collaborative process, that it isn't me telling them what to do, it is us working together towards a shared goal. So once the client's told me what they want, we can think about how we might get there. And over time that might change and develop, because often what people come into psychotherapy for initially, perhaps a crisis of some kind, once that gets resolved, they see the ongoing benefit of staying in psychotherapy.
Some will learn to feel their feelings without being frightened or overwhelmed by them. I think that's also a very good outcome of psychotherapy. So you learn to be guided by what's happening internally rather than being afraid of what's happening to you, if you like.